Hey everyone, I'm back again, and today I'm going to be sharing with you mask ready makeup. I put a poll on my Instagram the other day, and this was actually the top voted thing that my viewers wanted to see. So today I'll be doing that. It'll be quick, it'll be easy, and I'll show you some of my favorite products to do mask ready makeup, along with my favorite mask actually. So let's just jump in and get started. So before we even get started on makeup, one of the things I highly recommend is the Lumify eye drops. Obviously with a mask on, people are gonna see your eyes more than ever and focus on that. So having nice bright white eyes works really well. It's amazing. I have bloodshot eyes all the time, and this has definitely helped me. So the Lumify drops. The other thing that I always recommend using before you start doing your makeup, and before you put on your mask at any point, this has been a lifesaver for my lips. This is the Becca Hydrolite Lip Mask. So this mask is actually technically meant to be used as a nighttime mask, but while we're all wearing masks, it's my lip mask under my mask treatment. So anytime I'm wearing my mask, this goes on first. So I'm gonna throw a little bit of this on. It's interesting because it looks blue. Put it on, you can rub it right in, and it doesn't look blue anymore. And honestly, even if it did look blue, who cares, because we're gonna have a mask on, right? So a little bit of that feels really hydrating. Hyaluronic acid, has a peptide complex as well, so really nice. So start off your face with that after all your skincare. I'm gonna jump right into complexion now. So foundation obviously is very tricky these days because it's gonna rub off on the mask. You want something long wear. So the foundation I'm gonna use today is actually long wear, but I am gonna use a little bit of primer. So the reason I'm gonna use this primer is not really to extend that long wear foundation. Don't really need that, but I like a little bit of extra glow on my skin. This primer from Becca is amazing, the Backlight Primer. So this will just give like a soft candlelight radiance to the skin. Has a soft golden hue. I'll do a little pump. That's gonna be probably too much for the face, but I'm gonna play with it anyway. So let's go in and add that. You'll see immediately this radiance that comes into the skin. So I use my finger for this. You can use a brush. I like to bring this right under my eyes as well. I'll do half the face first so you guys can kind of see the difference that this primer makes. This is also one of like my go-to products when I'm not gonna wear makeup, but I want my skin to just look healthier and more glowy. So let's get that everywhere. You don't even have to put this everywhere. One of the good tricks that I can tell you is, why not just put it in key areas where you want a little extra glow? Bring it right down into the neck too. So if you just look at that glow that's happening now is really nice compared to this side. So let me go in and do the rest. A little bit of this goes a really long way. And like I said, I feel like it gives this like beautiful kind of like soft candlelight glow to the skin. And we all know we look best at candlelight, right? So let's get that on. So you can see again that kind of really nice glow that we have going on. Just gonna wipe the excess off my hands. And then, so we're gonna move right on to foundation now. So foundation can be tricky with masks. So what I'm gonna do is actually use the Becca Ultimate Coverage 24-Hour Wear Foundation. So this foundation is gonna be amazing for wear while you're wearing a mask. So it's 24 hours, which true to claim, it lasts all day. It's a full coverage foundation. However, anyone who knows me knows I'm not a huge fan of full coverage. However, this one really feels weightless on the skin, but gives you a beautiful finish. The pigments in this are actually suspended in water. So that's what makes it look a little more natural. It's also gonna be transfer resistant. I'm not gonna say transfer proof, but it is very transfer resistant. It's sweat proof and heat resistant as well. I always kind of shake it up a little bit. Anytime it's a long wear product, I like to shake it up. Now, with this foundation, a full pump is probably enough for two faces, in my opinion. So I'm gonna use like a half a pump of this foundation. Like that wasn't even a half a pump. And we're gonna go in and use one of my favorite brushes. This is actually from Charlotte Tilbury. It's her complexion brush. What I like about it is it has the two ends. I'm a big fan of more of a flat buffing brush style for foundation rather than a paintbrush style brush. I feel like those can leave streaky finishes. I like to buff foundation in. I feel like that's going to give you more of a skin-like finish. So I'm just going to go right into this foundation. First, I'm going to just dot it on to key areas. Right through my forehead and the nose. I get really red in my nose area. So, and then I'm just gonna go in and, like I said, I like to buff this foundation in. I'm buffing this all over. You can already see the great finish this is giving to the skin. It's taking out all the redness that I have. Anytime you want a little more coverage, you can do this patting motion, kind of stippling that foundation in too. So just buffing this in a little bit more. Like I said, my nose is very red. So I'll stipple that into the nose area a little bit more. I am not gonna bring this around my eyes because we will go in and we'll brighten up the eyes with a little concealer in a moment. I get the question a lot, should I do my foundation or my concealer first? And really, I don't think that there's a rule to that. If you are someone who likes that, lighter shade of concealer, you can definitely go in and do your concealer first, so that way you can blend out edges. I personally would kind of go maybe a half a shade lighter with my concealer, so I like to do concealer after. Also, it kind of gives you a good guide when you've evened out your skin tone. You can kind of see where you need to brighten up around the eyes as well. So foundation's done. I will tell you guys, it feels so weightless on my skin, which I absolutely love because I do not like feeling makeup on my skin at all. And you can see it really evens out really nicely and beautifully. I have a little blemish here, so we'll go in and cover that with concealer in a moment. So for concealer, for face, I'm going to use the Becca Ultimate Coverage Concealer. Same type of formula. It's a long wear concealer. It gives you a really great coverage, but it doesn't look or feel heavy on the skin. And it's also, going to give you a really opaque finish and easy to blend. So I just dab that onto my little blemish. Gotta love a little blemish, right? And I'm using the opposite end of that Charlotte Tilbury brush that we talked about and kind of just tapping that in. And you can use that anywhere you have a blemish. You could go right under the eyes with this too. I have a little bit of primer that I got there, but we'll take care of that after. So to brighten up under the eyes, anyone who's talked to me or seen me or, worked with me before knows I don't like to look heavy and cakey around the eyes. So what I'm gonna do under my eyes first is I'm gonna go in with the Becca Anti-Fatigue Under Eye Primer, one of my favorite products from Becca. Because it goes on and smooths out the under eye area. I have concerns with fine lines. I have concerns with crepiness around the eyes. I feel like a lot of times product will look heavy under my eyes. So this really helps with that. It looks green in the packaging. It is not green on the skin. So you just I'm gonna go in with my finger, warm that up, tap it into the areas where I feel like I want that little extra smoothness. And remember, I didn't go really up to my eyes with that foundation, so we're not going to be disturbing the foundation. So now that I've done that, let's go in with that Ultimate Coverage Concealer again. I'm going to go right in through this area where my darkest area is. You can use your finger to blend out this concealer, but I'm going to go back in with that Charlotte Tilbury brush, the little end, and I'm going to blend this out. It's nice because you can really get right up to that lash line. I know I get really red, as you can see. I get really red around my eyes, so it allows me to get right up in there to conceal that. I think I just poked myself in the eye a little bit, but that's okay. I'll survive, right? So get right in there. You can do the pressing motion. One thing I always like to do with concealer is after I've applied it, wow, look at how bright that looks. After I've applied it, I just like to kind of use my fingers and melt it in a little bit. And ta-da. So now we have bright under eyes. which is great because now we're gonna move on to eyeshadow. The eye look should be really easy. You know, we're all so busy these days. We're all like trying to get in and out and all of that. So I'm gonna go in and keep this very easy for you guys. The first thing I'm gonna use is an eyeliner. I'm gonna use this Charlotte Tilbury eyeliner. It's her Kohl liner, Rock and Kohl. The shade is Verushka Mink. I like this shade because it's like a really nice grayish type tone. It's a little bit softer than using a black, but it gives you a little more oomph than a brown. The shadow I am going to use for you guys today too, it works really well with. So instead of going above the lid, what I'm gonna do is lift up my lash line and do tight lining on my eye. So what this does is it allows your lashes to look much thicker without closing up the eye, and it gives a nice definition. I will say this liner, you can see the difference. This liner also is so creamy and smooth that it glides on. It's not gonna drag inside the eye. It's not gonna irritate. It goes on very quickly. So let's do the other eye. So again, just kind of swipe that right into that inner lash line. Very quick and easy. A little of this tends to be brought down or transferred down to the bottom lash line. I'm okay with that because I think it actually looks really nice. Let's go in now and kind of work with shadow. I'm gonna work with the Becca Light Gleam shadow. This is an interesting duo and a lot of people might find this scary to play with. It's called Red Star. So it's a dual-ended. You have not super matte, but a little bit of a matte base or a priming shade, and then you have a shimmer overlay. So I'm gonna work with a brush that's a little bit fluffier for shadow. This is a NARS brush, and it's a fluffier shadow blending brush. And then I'm gonna start with the base shade. So this deeper red tone, it's like a red-brown. I'm just rolling it onto my hand. Show you guys the shade, really pretty shade. But again, a shade that a lot of people might feel afraid to work with. And I'm gonna go in with my brush now. Pick up a little bit of that shadow. Don't pick up too much when you start, but get a little bit on your brush, okay? And what I'm gonna do is kind of tap this right onto my lid. And I'm gonna bring it right up to the natural crease. You can already see really pretty, gives you a little bit of a shadow, but not overwhelming. Do the same thing on this side. And I'm gonna show you another product that you can pair up in multiple ways with this when we move on. So super easy, guys. I think that this, just like this, could be worn, but I am gonna show you how to apply that shimmer overlay. And remember, this is meant to be soft, natural, easy, you know, eye look for mass. I think if we threw on, you know, a little bit of mascara right at this point, we'd be okay to go. The reason I like this brush too is it blends out, even though it's meant to be a powder shadow brush, I feel like it blends out this creamy formula really nicely. And you don't get any like chunkiness, you don't get any issues with it blending out. It just blends out beautifully. So let's go in, where'd I put it? We're gonna go in with that shimmer overlay shade. I wanna show you guys how to use this so you don't feel afraid. It's really pretty. It has this really beautiful kind of sparkly finish. I'll spread it out a little bit so you can see a really beautiful sparkly finish. So it does have a little brush on it. You could apply just like that. For me, I like to use brushes so I get a more precise application. So what I'm gonna do is use kind of a smaller fluffy brush. Again, it's meant to be a powder shadow brush. Don't worry about it. It will still work just great. I'm gonna go in and pick up a little bit of that shadow. And I'm just gonna apply a little bit of the shimmer on the inner lid, kind of close to the inner corner. You could absolutely bring it right into that inner corner as well. I like this because it gives a little bit of like light to the deeper area of my eye specifically. Brightens up. And people are always so afraid of shimmer. I don't think you should be. I think a little shimmer is fine, you know, moderation. Although, in my opinion, I would love to see glitter all over the world, all times. Anyone who knows me, I'm a glitter fan. So you can see again, really soft and pretty. It's not like I just added, you know, craft store glitter all over my eye. We're going to go back in a minute with this deeper shade, and I'll show you how to bring it under the eye as well. So let's move on to the next step in the look, which is going to be mascara. So mascaras, I've tried so many. The one that I really love the most is the NARS Climax Mascara. This one has been around for a little while now, but the reason I like it is it's kind of an all-in-one formula. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to add a little mascara. There we go. And you can see just one soft coat gives you a really amazing finish. And there we go, really quick. So let's finish off this look with a little highlighter. I'm gonna go in and highlight with the Ignite Liquefied Highlighter from Becca. The reason I choose this is it is transfer resistant and long wear as well. Gives a really beautiful highlight. I'm gonna add a little pump of this onto my hand. That's probably even too much. And what I'm actually gonna do is take the brush that we already used for foundation and dab that right into this product. Give a little bit of highlight. This is a time where we're all wearing masks, guys, where like highlighter is something that is smart to add to your makeup look because, you know, a little bit of glow in this area makes you look awake, makes you look healthy. Ooh, little dab too much. There we go. Buff this in a little bit. You can do a little bit on the nose if you want. I like this spot to be highlighted personally. You could even take a little bit of this under the brow if you wanted to. So you can see that really kind of beautiful glow that this gives. And again, it's long wear, which is great. To add a little more dimension to this, I am gonna go in and add a little highlighter. So I'm gonna go in with, this one is Lilac Geode from Becca. And I'm gonna take a angled brush. I'm gonna use the tip of it because I like to add, you know, a little dimension to my highlight. I don't like to go with just one shade. I mean, sometimes I will, but this is a great way to add a little extra glow and highlight and give a little extra oomph to your highlight. I'm loving this glow. I hope you guys are too. Now let's move on to the second product for dimension. So I'm gonna go in with a bronzer from Becca. It's called Maui Nights. You can see that it has this like bronze, but a little bit of a red tone. I thought this would be really pretty for two things. I'm gonna use it as blush / bronzer. I'm also gonna use it on the eye a little bit. So I'm gonna go in with a fluffier powder brush with a little bit of the bronzer on it. Again, one of my techniques is to get the product and then kind of press it in. So let's sweep this a little bit higher up. Blend that out a little bit. Really pretty. Go into the temple. So you guys can see I'm kind of going like in this really dimensional way. So it's almost like a little bit of a contour. It's almost like a little bit of a face shaping and a blush all in one. So we'll give you like a preview. So there compared to this side. It shapes the face, and bringing it up through here also is really pretty to give you a little more definition to your face. And again, you know, we're doing this for mask wearing, right? So we want it to stand out behind the mask, you know, and I don't know a single person who doesn't want a little lift. And by adding this up in this area and sweeping like that upward motion, that's gonna give you a little more lift. And then maybe a little bit right on the nose too. So I did mention I'm gonna use this on the eyes, right? So let's go in with the eyes. Angled brush, shadow brush, really fluffy and soft. I'm gonna take the tip part of this into the bronzer. And with my eye open, I'm gonna actually just define out this area just slightly. Again, it's just to give a little more definition to the eye. You don't have to do this step. I just like it. Okay, so we have that little bit of definition. You know what I'm gonna do with this, instead of going back with shadow, I'm gonna take a little bit of this bronzer and I'm gonna go right under the eye with this as well as a shadow. Just for that soft definition under the eye. Can you guys see that? Really pretty, right? And the other side. Blend that out a little bit. So again, you don't look like overly made up. I do want to add a touch more of this bronzer right here. There we go. It gives just a little more. Really pretty. Let's finish this look off really quickly with some brows. So for brows, I have a full brow, so I'm not going to add a lot of color, but I am going to just add a little definition. Charlotte Tilbury's Brow Lift. This shade is Supermodel. It has a spoolie on one end, you can see that. And on the other side, it has kind of like almost like a waxy, creamy pencil. So you have to warm this up on your hand a little bit to get it going, but once it starts to go, it's great. I'm just gonna add a few little strokes. You can really define out your brow nicely with this without it looking too boxy. So I'm just adding a little shape to it. Brows, you know, they do frame the face, so adding a little love to your brow is always a good thing. I'm using the spoolie just to kind of fluff up the brow a little bit. And the other side. This is a really great brow product, guys. It just applies the perfect amount of product. It's very easy to work with. I don't like a super square boxy brow in the beginning, so you notice I didn't add as much product there. There we go. All right, guys, so I think the last thing we have to do is a little brow gel. And then we'll set everything with a little loose powder. So I'm using the NYX brow gel that I've used before in previous videos. My tip and trick with this that I've shared before, but I'll share again, this to use your hair dryer actually while you do this, and it helps dry that brow gel so that you don't have to wait as long and you do get that perfect shape and set that you want. So I fluff them up a little bit and then I follow the shape at the end. Looks good, if I do say so myself. All right, final step, we wanna set this. Setting sprays are great, but I'm gonna actually use a loose powder. Sorry about the shine, but this is Becca's Hydra Mist Set and Refresh Powder. I love this powder because it actually is made with 50% water. You wanna make sure you keep it nice and tight when you close it. I'm gonna go in with a fluffy brush. It's actually the same brush I use for bronzer. You can switch that out if you want. I'm gonna use the same one. It has a little sifting in it, which is really nice, but you can actually press your brush right in there and the product comes out nicely. I did mention that I like to press powder into my hand, so I'm going to press powder into my hand. And then I'm going to go in and just kind of do this pressing motion. You can also do my famous little rock and roll motion. So I know a lot of people don't like powder. I like powder because it actually locks in your makeup. So definitely get into powder, guys, if you want to extend that wear of your makeup. So get your concealer. Remember, everything that I used on my face is long wear, but a little extra insurance goes a long way, right? So I've pressed it all in. I'm just going to go in and now dust away any excess product I have. And that's the final look. So let me throw on my mask so you can see what this will look like with a mask on. So I'm going to put on my beautiful mask that was provided by a friend. If you like my mask, I will actually tag who I got it from so you can take a look at her work. It's great. So my mask is now on. Hopefully you can hear me through this. I hope you like my mask. You can see that this area looks nice. It looks polished and brightened. I'm gonna do this so I can show you the inside of my mask. No makeup. There's a tiny little touch right there, but there's really no major rub off, and I just rubbed my face. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. I will be tagging all of the product and brands that I used on my face so that you'll be able to look at it again. And keep your eye out for my next video. Thanks, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.